Alright everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I'm actually going to talk about the iPhone and a couple of facts that a lot of people actually did not know. I know there's a couple of really deluded people. This is going to be a very lengthy video, but this is basically going to show the guys who are genuinely interested in knowing, okay, what else didn't I not know about this iPhone? Because now people are starting to realize, oh wait, the iPhone is thermal throttling. And for a tech savvy person like me, I'm like, no shit, it's thermal throttling. It has been done that since the iPhone 10. So I thought, hey, let's make a video about all the facts that you should know about the iPhone before purchasing one. And then you can make up if you're actually interested in buying one or not. So number one, actual performance and thermal throttling. Now, a lot of people have this very weird idea that the iPhone is the most powerful phone because of the A14 chip, and that is untrue in multitudes of ways, and let me explain why. So a lot of people get this idea because of the very abnormally high Geekbench score. Now, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that Geekbench is possibly the worst thing to use because it's absolutely inconsistent in every single way. Now, let me show you exactly how. Now, here we go, and we can look at these scores. Now, a lot of people who actually know about PC hardware, and don't worry, you don't need to know much about PC hardware, it'll make sense in a moment. But those who do know will already realize, wait, there is something horribly wrong with these scores. And yes, this is actually true. Because, as we can see here, this is the second gen Ryzen CPU with 24 cores. The same generation with 12 cores scores higher. And now people are like, yeah, okay, it runs on a lower clock speed, but this still does not make much sense. And what's even worse is the first generation is outperforming it, which again makes even less sense. So let's go ahead and check actual scores. We use something on a PC which is called Cinebench, and the reason why Cinebench is actually very credible, except compared to Geekbench. Geekbench is a very kind of useless benchmark. It's just a synthetic benchmark that doesn't do anything. While Cinebench is actually built upon Cinema 4, which is a real world application that you actually use to render 3D scenes with your CPU. So as we can see here, the Threadripper 24 core actually scores 10,000 points. That is nuts. How much does the Core i9 10 core score? 5,000. Yeah, so basically this one in real life is actually twice as fast. But according to Geekbench, it's slower. See how this one is outperforming the 24 score? And even outperforming the higher clocked same core count 9th gen? Which makes no fucking sense. So, and now some people might be, but it's architecture. Well, even if it's architecture, right? This already shows you that it's very, very shit. But even within the same architecture, the Threadripper 12 core, which is supposedly scoring higher here, is also way, way worse than the actual 24 core in real life. So as you can see, this Geekbench is utterly garbage. It is obviously written in a way where it prefers iPhones over Android phones because it cannot utilize the cores as well. So there you have it. It's quite obvious that this benchmark is fucking worthless. Nobody has even bothered to look into it, apparently. Okay, obviously a lot of people have looked into it. A lot of people also questioned how legal this, how serious to take this fucking piece of shit benchmark is. But honestly, a lot of people take this way too serious with Geekbench. That's how they base their performance claim on. Now, number two, why the performance actually is kind of shit on the iPhone is we can already compare here. This is the iPhone 12 with the newest cutting edge blah. It is still being outperformed by, you guessed it, the Snapdragon counterpart. Now, what's important here is, and this is also the reason why I made this video, because thanks to Tech Tablet's video, I saw in the comment section a lot of people apparently wasn't aware of this. So I thought, hey, let's spread awareness. So as we can see here, not only does it get outperformed by the Snapdragon already Antutu benchmark, which already should raise some eyebrows for some people who claim, oh, fastest because Geekbench. So let's just go ahead and look what happens. And I'm going to link all the videos in the description so you can look at it yourself. So what this the guy does basically is play a game called Genshin Impact. It is currently the most popular, or not most, but like one of the most popular games that you can play on a mobile device. It's also very demanding, and this is why a lot of people might be interested in purchasing a newer phone as well. Now, he plays the game for a little while, lets it run.
To get a bit warm.
And it will get really warm, and the FPS in this, like, he does it before after, and when he sees the FPS is getting really low, at least for my eyes. Obviously, I'm a gamer, so I have quote-unquote trained eyes. I can see this way easier than other people could. But then, when he goes ahead and... These are before scores, right? Now, he's going to run the benchmark again, and this is how it's going to be before and after. As you notice here, it is already dropping a lot. And the thing is, this is actually a problem which I have with this particular showcase of the performance. He actually let the phone cool down for a couple of minutes, or maybe a minute. But that is enough to already skewer the score, pretty much. If he actually just loops Antutu, his score will be even worse. Like, severely much worse. So, even if you somehow could make a case that the iPhone is in fact superior to the Android hardware, you somehow make a case, it will still be irrelevant because it will thermal throttle if you actually use the performance. What is the point of having the performance if you lose the performance if you actually need it? It makes no sense. So it doesn't matter like whether or not the iPhone is actually the fastest phone. I would definitely have a lot of examples as to why it's actually slower. But even if you somehow could make the point, it's still irrelevant. And that's so fucking stupid. Now, this is not anything new to the iPhone 12, because a lot of people think this is new to the iPhone 12. No, this is actually since the iPhone 10. Now, here's a person as well who had the iPhone 10, so he goes ahead, and I really feel like I have to show a little part of this as well, because you can actually see the huge FPS drops, which is caused by thermal throttling. So he scores around 19,000 when he just uses the phone. So let's go and see what happens here.
So this was my last benchmark, and I'm gonna show you guys when I run this one. This is gonna take a few moments, and I'm not gonna make you wait through this. I will just skip through it through the video, and we'll get to the end results.
As you can see, it's really choppy, it's laggy, right?
And I'll show you guys what I mean. So you can see the... Wow.
Here's the two.
So you can see there all the frame drops.
So that's kind of bad. Now he goes to his refrigerator, gets a pack of burritos. I'm not even joking. I can't make this shit up. I'm serious. He's literally getting burritos.
YouTube.
This is cooling at this point, all right? He's a fucking legend. He's honestly a fucking legend for this. I love it. Burrito cooled fucking iPhone. Woo! All right, but so he goes ahead and he cools down.
We're gonna use some frozen burritos.
The fucking iPhone.
I don't have the case on the device right now. The device has been cooling down for a little bit here.
So that's his previous score. Now he's actually going to put the benchmark, and you can actually see how much the FPS improves, the actual performance. Remember how laggy this was? Look at this.
You can see the frames are a lot smoother. Unfortunately, the light's hitting it, but I want to leave it sitting there, so we'll just have to deal with the shine. So look at that beast.
There we go. So as you can see, this is a thing since the iPhone 10. I knew this. I told everyone, but it's like, yeah, but why does it matter? Now when everyone wants to play Genshin Impact, you're like, oh no, why does my most powerful phone fucking thermal throttle? I don't understand. Oh, it's so laggy. I mean, to me, it's obviously nuts that people even, you know, didn't realize this. It's as if people couldn't be bothered to do research. Now, I don't really blame everyone for this. I mean, obviously the consumers are not 100% at fault. I mean, some are deluded and they don't care. But others are just reliant on reviewers who just do not tell the truth. And that is, in particular, my problem. I'm also going to go, when it comes to the camera section, I'm actually going to show you how deluded these reviewers are and how much they're bullshitting you. The only thing that's actually surprising me is how you can believe it, even though some reviewers make it so blatantly that they're lying. But again, I'll get to that later. Let's talk about the next thing, the battery. The battery life of the iPhone 12 is... I mean, the iPhone 11 was already pretty bad. The iPhone 10 was also pretty bad. But the iPhone 12 is now worse than the iPhone 11. Now, a lot of people are asking, but why? Well, the reason is 5G. There we go. as you can see, 5G and 4G variants. As you can see, the 5G variant is actually, even worse in battery. Now, a lot of people will ask, well, why is that? Why is that the case? Why are other 5G phones not really that affected by it? Well, the reason is quite simple, because with, for instance, the Huawei, right? The Huawei has not only a decently sized battery, but the 5G modem is actually integrated in the SoC, in the actual, package with the CPU, GPU, and all the juicy stuff. So it basically works as one unit. So it's way more efficient. However, on the iPhone 12, the 5G modem is actually external. So it actually needs more juice to get powered. So it's less efficient. And that's why this is happening, because apparently the iPhones actually have a really small battery compared to the Android equivalent. They're just banking on being as optimized as possible, I guess. But the problem is, once you actually have something that drains battery, such as the 5G modem, or even if you do something demanding like playing a game, the battery will be drained in absolutely no time. The battery is just basically, it's a joke. I mean, on an iPhone, if you play games on it, the worst is that, to my knowledge, they don't have bypass charging, which means if you actually do gaming on an iPhone, you will basically break your battery in maybe a year, so it's going to be borderline unusable. So there's that. There's some videos about batteries, like smartphone batteries and why fast charging, etc., what actually causes them to degrade. If you look at those videos, and then you'll realize that the battery of the iPhone drains faster when you do stuff on it, and then whole charging process, etc., you will understand why the iPhone batteries will more than likely not last as long as the Android equivalent. So I just wanted to make a point here so people know when they actually buy an iPhone 12 with 5G or enable 5G. I don't know if you disable 5G, if that will just I suppose it will just it'll just make it more power efficient. I hope so, at least. Another thing which you also have to know is, apparently outside of US, if you buy iPhone 5G, you cannot even use the fastest 5G, which is Wave MM or something. You cannot use that because I don't know if it's some licensing or whatever the fuck that is, but you cannot use it. You can read more into it if you want to, but you could technically, if you're outside of the US, you can't really use the highest potential of the iPhone, which is a shame, really. I mean, on the 5G at least. So there's that. All right, so let's go next. The camera. Oh god, I have so much to say about the camera. Okay, so everyone is overhyping the camera, and I'm honestly getting upset here at this point, because this is the cameras are nothing special at all. They're actually quite average. It's the same as Pixel. Everyone's overhyping the Pixel. Everyone's overhyping the iPhone, but in reality, both cameras are really average. They're not great. Other flagships are utterly demolishing it in basically any scenario. So let's go ahead and explain to you. Actually show you guys. Have some eyeballs. Okay, this time we're going to try something new. So we're trying something completely new. We're not going to believe some reviewers. We're going to look with our own eyeballs. Now, there's something I want to say as well when it comes to the camera. Actually, no, I'm just going to show you first. So let's look at the ultra-wide camera, right? So, I want to make sure you understand this here is 4K. I put the quality on 4K, right? Let's maximize the screen and look at this beautiful image. Let's put this on. So as you can see, does this look like 4K to you? Probably not. This is probably the closest you will have to 4K quality. I will loosely use that term. And this is not because of YouTube compression. This is simply because the ultra wide on the iPhone is, I mean, it's even worse than budget Android phones ultra wide, which already is kind of bad. And by kind of bad, I mean kind of really bad. So, but let's go ahead and see what happens, right? So far, it's really laggy too. I mean, do you see this? Do you see all this lag going on? Yuck, 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 yuck. It's really stuttering and not great. It's really not great. The stutter is borderline disgusting, honestly. But overall, these shots are beautiful. Are beautiful, not because of the camera, because of the color grading. Whoever made this video is obviously good at color grading. He has some know-how when it comes to video editing. So a lot of people will now say, okay, it doesn't look like 4K, yada yada yada. However, let's see how it performs indoors. And I will remind you guys, this is still 4K. So far, looking decent, right? So far, still looking decent. What happened to my 4K? Yeah, so as you can see, if you just have a little low light, the camera, because of the sensor, is so fucking tiny. It's such a tiny little shit sensor that my 4K video suddenly turned into, this is maybe 360p quality equivalent. Like, there's no detail whatsoever. And it's not because I paused this. I'm gonna play it in a moment, too. And as I said, all the videos are in the description. You can look for yourself. But as you can see, even compared to the first shot, which was not great to begin with, this is just terrible. This is absolutely awful. Honestly, this is actually really... Look how pixelated this is. There's no detail whatsoever. It's just bad. And this is, as I said, not because of bad compression. You saw the beginning. That looked way better, even though it's still not optimal. This is because... Whoops. This is because the camera simply cannot handle anything that's not optimal light. And that in itself already makes the ultrawide kind of worthless. I mean, it's okay in good lighting conditions. It can be used, obviously. But the moment you want to do like a little more low light, yeah, forget that. And that is something I really dislike because you pay so much money and your ultrawide is so bad. Now, when it comes to ultrawide, there's something I really hate. This is one of the Apple's practices I really dislike. They use, to my knowledge, the exact same ultrawide in the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 11. Now, a lot of people will be maybe raising their eyebrows at this point. But wait a second, why does my iPhone 11 not have night mode on the ultrawide? Well, the reason is because Apple couldn't be bothered. Look, I'm not shitting you. It's because they could not be bothered. You could have had night mode on ultrawide like years ago. Okay, a year ago. I suppose they released it a year ago. But, I mean, they just couldn't be bothered. They're like, nah, you're not getting it. Not getting the software. Screw you. Fuck you. Customer, buy new phone if you want night mode. That's literally what they're doing at this point. There's no reason as to why you don't have night mode on the iPhone 11 ultra wide. There's no reason other than Apple just refusing to give it to you. That's hilarious. To me, I already would feel kind of cheated on buying the iPhone 11 if I had one. I'd be like, okay, look, why the fuck don't I get? Why don't I get a portrait night mode, ultra wide night mode? What the fuck? The funny thing is also that the telephoto lens is also pretty bad. Now, I don't have the video right now, but I think it was this one, not Mr. Who's the Boss, but the other big phone reviewer. He has like a Marquez, I think that's his name. He also made the iPhone 12 review, and he showed how the telephoto lens, which is this lens for zooming, does not work. It's actually so bad that it is only being used for 2x zoom, and if you want to digital zoom, right, it uses the main lens, because the telephoto is so bad, if you use digital zoom, it's going to be inferior to the main lens. That's how bad the telephoto is. He even covered, the, oh, there he is, Marquise Brownlee. Hey, there we go. He even covered the lens with a finger, right? The telephoto lens, and used digital zoom, and it didn't cover, like his finger didn't cover. So that was basically how he proved it. It's ridiculously stupid. Now, the LiDAR sensor is also, I mean, that thing is awesome. But why in the fuck does Apple only use it in night mode? That is something I do not understand. Okay, so the portrait modes on the iPhone is pretty bad. The edge detection is probably one of the most horrible things I've ever seen in any smartphone, period. But the LiDAR sensor would obviously improve of this a lot, right? Well, only in night mode for some reason. Maybe, I assume it's because Apple could not be bothered to rewrite the algorithm for portrait mode in daylight. But it's still fucking stupid, because the portrait mode is one of the, especially on non-human targets, the portrait mode is horrible. I'm going to show you examples on that as well very soon here. So, I don't get it. Now let's look at the main lens. Now the main lens is here, right? I'm not gonna use like normal shots. Oh god. Okay, so as you can see here, let's just say it's again not a particularly big sensor. Yes, it has a bigger aperture, just a slightly bigger aperture, but the lens is already so fucking small in itself. It's at 1.4 micrometers per pixels. So it's already pretty shit at low light. It's nothing compared to, let's say, the OnePlus 8 Pro, which has roughly 2.5 micrometers per pixels. That is a huge difference in low light performance. I'm also going to show you a difference here. But as you can see here, the low light performance is, I mean, in daylight, it's fine. Oh god, could not edit like this. But the night shots is just, it's not good. I mean, yuck. As you can see here. So as you can see here, this is a decent shot. This is kind of getting bad. It's again jittery and stuttery, but yeah. This is something I really notice on basically any video shot on the iPhone. It is kind of jerky and stuttery. I don't exactly know why, but it's jerky and stuttery. So yeah. But as you can see here, this does not look like 4K, right? This really doesn't, because again, I mean, the low light performance of this phone is just terrible. Now, a lot of you people will be like, okay, we get it. The camera is nothing special. We get it. It's not supposed to be a professional camera, right? But it's a smartphone, right? So it's not supposed to be great. Well, the thing is, I have to disagree because I find this OnePlus 8 Pro cinematic. I actually, because I was curious, I want to see, well, how does the like the competition actually have low light, right? And let's just say I was kind of shocked. Okay, so here we go. Let's watch 4K. Alrighty. I mean, obviously the edit here is a little, I mean, he kind of made the contrast a little extreme here, but look at the detail. You can still make out a lot of detail. There's not a whole lot of noise. And I'm gonna now let the video play here, and you'll see for yourself. This is detailed. I'm seriously surprised this is coming from a smartphone. Again, basically no noise, low light. This is, I mean, this is fucking impressive for an iPhone, for a OnePlus 8, like just general smartphone. I did not know. I don't like the OnePlus 8 Pro. Just disclaimer. I don't particularly like that phone for many reasons. So I'm not a big fan of the phone itself. But this sensor is very, very fucking capable. You can see all this. This is lower light than what you saw on the other ultra wide video on the iPhone, where it just made flat out the video fucking 240p or some shit. This can still pass as 4K. This is actually sharp, detailed. Yeah, it's not perfect. You can see on the grass, it's a little mushy. But considering this is from a fucking smartphone, this is actually impressive. So when I say the iPhone camera is bad, or not bad, but just very underwhelming, I don't mean compared to a DSLR camera. I'm actually talking compared to a phone like the Huawei P40 Pro Plus or the OnePlus 8 Pro or the Xiaomi 10 Ultra. I mean, those phones are just much better. I mean, their sensors are better and everything is just flat out better. So let's go ahead and talk about the advertisements. You see a lot that oh, hold on, cat needs to get up. Come on. There we go. You'll see that that a lot of phones, like the cinema stuff, when you see on when Apple actually advertise it, when they say shot on the iPhone, and you don't understand what they did now, do you? I'm gonna show you. Now this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I thought this video was super cool. Let's see where it is.
We all thought the Galaxy S10 camera was pretty great, but today I'm taking it up to a whole other level. This is going to be smartphone videography like you might have never seen before. So, this package you're seeing here is from a company called Beast Grip. I reached out to them about a couple of months ago saying that I wanted to build the most powerful smartphone camera ever.
Okay, it was not him, it was actually Marquez again. Marquise. Oh, I'm sorry for butchering his name. He's gonna kill me. He's hopefully never gonna see this video. The thing is, he's basically Mr. Who's the Boss actually showing you what the people are doing when they shoot these videos because they kind of cheat. This is the monstrosity they actually have when shooting, you know, the actual videos. When they say, well, it shot on the iPhone. Well, technically it's true, but you have extremely expensive equipment. I mean, this thing alone, the thing that can hold the lenses, I think that's $200. This lens is like, I think 400 or something like that. So you get in a really high price range. You might as well just buy a real camera at this point. But
rigs to
let's go
central
ahead and see
London
the
to try and
shots.
capture the hustle and
Now, I was not impressed by the iPhone shots, funnily enough. I was more impressed by the Galaxy ones, so we're gonna go ahead and look for this. And this is unedited. He said it himself, and I believe him too. This kind of looks like the slightly oversaturated, you know, rendering the Galaxy typically do. So I believe him in that case. If you want to believe him, I don't know, but look at this.
Now, this S10 rig was also the perfect opportunity to test out the anamorphic lens. And for those of you who don't know, an anamorphic lens allows you to capture a lot
Oh, here it is. Sorry.
of the smartphone. Color processing. This is shot with the Filmic Pro app, and straight out of the app, this is the footage. I haven't even touched it. The color grading here is cinema quality. Now, this...
So basically, as you can see, and again, you're going to see all in the description, and I know I'm repeating myself, but I feel like I have to. Again, it's kind of cheating what they're doing there. The low light video you saw before with the OnePlus 8 Pro, by the way, was shot with this kind of professional equipment. It was literally just a phone on a gimbal. So you have that. Before you make the claim that the OnePlus 8 Pro was, you know, it was on this cheating thing too. No, it was not actually. So, as you know, hopefully now, when it comes to camera setup, the iPhone is pretty average, if not even under average. I think budget phones do have better ultra wides, honestly. The main lens is okay. It's not great. They will upgrade it, which is still going to be worse than the flagship that Android has. It's going to be 1.7 micrometers per pixels versus still 2.5 on Android. So it's still... If you want the ultimate camera phone, by the way, you probably want to get a Huawei Mate 40 Pro. That thing is a fucking beast, and it does not skimp on any camera. So there you go on that. Even the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, which has decent cameras, but the processing is horrible. And if I remember correctly, they kind of locked down the entire thing, so Google Cam support, etc. Not that great either. It's not an option. So with the Samsung, I wouldn't even go for a Samsung if I wanted to make great pictures. It would definitely have to be either Xiaomi 10 Ultra or Huawei P40 Pro Plus or Mate 40, something along the lines of that. So for those who actually want to have these great, you know. Oh, and a little comment about the screen. I think the iPhone screens are kind of subpar. They're not that great. They're OLEDs and all, but they're kind of, I don't know, they don't have the same color range, I guess. I don't know. I don't like them as much. This might be preference. Also 60 hertz. Yuck. So I'm going to talk about, now that you know the camera's not that great, and you know about that, I talked about deluded reviewers. Now, here we go. Here's one of them. His name is Mattia Poya, and I'm seriously amazed by the sheer contrast between what is said and what is visually presented. So this guy acts as if the iPhone 11 Pro is even close to a DSLR camera, which that in itself is just laughable. But alright, let's go and have some fun with this fucking idiot.
Let's play a game. This is gonna be fun. Here's two photos. One of these photos is taken with a $7,500 DSLR camera setup, and the other one is an iPhone 11 Pro. Can you guess which one is which?
So he's acting as if this was actually hard to guess, which it isn't. Now, a lot of you guys will obviously, a couple will maybe watch this on their phone and they will have a more difficult time of looking at it, but I'm looking on a significantly larger screen, aka a 32-inch monitor, and I instantly see a difference in quality and so on. I mean, it's just quality blur. The fake bokeh is kind of pathetic here. But let's go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about, because you might be looking at a phone screen at this point. Now, what you really will notice at this point really quickly is the fact that his legs are being blurred out. The bokeh is kind of fucking this up. I don't know why exactly. Here it's still relatively sharp to, well, to him, obviously. The iPhone is over sharpening his chest area, maybe also a little bit in his face, but his feet are just getting blurred out. Obviously, also part of his back head is missing, and some artifacting around here as well. So overall, pretty horrible job. This could not even be used professionally at all. There's no consistency in this. This is kind of shit. And also the brightness level here on the street, it looks really unnatural and awful. Also the blur is, again, you can probably only see it in a larger monitor, but this is kind of pixelated and smeary, while this one, while still blurry, detailed. So if you look at a bigger monitor, you can immediately see that this one is from a DSLR and this one is from the iPhone, because there's so many issues with this picture that this is a borderline a fucking joke.
Can you see the differences? Are you pixel peeping really, really hard?
The fact that he's making it out to be hard and asking me if I'm pixel peeping is sort of an insult to my intelligence at this point. But spoiler alert, I'm not a professional photograph person. I like taking pictures, but I have an IQ above a toaster and I have 2 functioning eyes. So obviously I don't need to be really good at, you know, understanding how pictures are composed, etc., in order to see that this one is a fucking mess. I mean, most people could probably see this pretty easily.
Right now, your answer is locked. You know which one's which. Okay, camera A is a 1DX2 with a 16-35.
He's acting as if this is a surprise. I mean, oh, I'm shocked. I couldn't possibly figure out that a DSLR would not add a fucking fake, like a fucking buggy ass fake bokeh mode, and actually ruining my back head. I mean, come on.
This is a $7,500 setup, and camera
Congratulations, buddy.
B was my iPhone.
So let's play his retarded game, right? Just to show him, because he's still making out as if this is... He's also saying shit like, oh, you don't have to worry if you can't see a difference. I would worry if you can't see a difference, because that would mean something is horribly wrong here. Now, again, he's acting, he's making 5 or 4 examples, and he's like, oh, look, you cannot tell the difference probably. But yeah, you can.
More times. Here's another 2 photos.
Oh yeah, and he also says that he sometimes cannot see the difference, I think, which, I mean, that questions. Okay, so as you can see here as well, the same running theme is going on. Here, we can see the DSLR camera doing a really good job. He is away from the, the subject is away from the background. It's very nicely made. Even you can see every single strand of hair, and you can see those beautiful depth of field, you know, circles, which camera people really like and love, as far as I know. So as you can see here, also very detailed blur, etc. Very nice, very great. So overall, pretty good picture. Now let's look at this one, and yeah, no strain of hair. His hair is even getting fucked here. His glass is getting raped by the fake bokeh, and this one is also, again, a somewhat blurry, pixelated, pretty bad fake bokeh, which also under his arms is not blurred out as far as I can tell. Again, quite horrible picture made by the iPhone. I did not need fucking a degree in whatever you need for composition of pictures to know that this one is quite bad.
I will give you guys a little bit of a chance to guess. All right, camera A is the iPhone, camera B, 1DX Mark II.
Oh, I'm so shocked.
Did you get it right? Let's do a couple more for fun. Here's another 2 photos for you.
Again, pretty easy to tell. This is also a common problem on the iPhone as well. The very oversaturated red. Also, the leaf is getting fucked. I do not know why. This is actually quite beautiful. This is actually, again, I like the color of this red. This is very natural and very nice. Actually, I would love to see a leaf like this, but where I live, you don't really see it, sadly. Again, this is a little oversaturated. Maybe again, it's a little pixelated. It's not as pixelated as the other 2, but this one is still pretty bad. I'm not sure what the hell happened with this leaf, but I mean, this is just what it is.
You take your guess. This time, camera A is the iPhone X2.
Again, I'm not exactly shocked. Now, this one is actually the most difficult one of them all. I suppose it's because, well, for most people at least, I suppose this is because of how, I mean, you could basically base it, you could basically figure out based on saturation and so on, that this one, I believe this one was the DSLR and this one the iPhone. Yeah, this one is quite clearly the iPhone. You can see it a little bit in the hair detail here, while this one is very different. The light here is being slightly differently made, and also this is not exposed as well when it comes to the background. So you can see here that there's the one DX2. Now, this one is also again quite horrible. I mean, his back head just again disappeared. Apparently, the iPhone does not like his back head. Maybe that's why he's so stupid. Also, I think this is some weird issue here. I'm not entirely sure, but whatever. So again, I mean, it's not very hard to see that this is the iPhone again due to the same things. Now, just to give you an example, the prime example of what is being said and what's being shown is so fucking amazing that I'm actually crying. So here we go.
Or we can get dynamic range even more than on the 1DX2. And the overall colors and image is starting to look really, really high quality for...
Can I just mention high quality? I mean, this guy is obviously so fucking... He's lying to your face. I mean, who would consider this picture high quality? Tell me anyone. Who thinks this is fucking high quality? Look at his glass. It's gone. It's just... There we go. No glass for you. Also, his hair got again fucked up. I mean, yes, I get it. It can composite the image to an HDR, blah, blah, blah. But if you have a 1DX2, right, then you take it at different exposures and stuff, then you make the image HDR manually so you have a perfect image. Obviously, the dynamic range is not going to be as great as this, but you can see how unreliable the portrait mode is on the iPhone 11. And that's why I tell you guys, the fucking portrait mode of the iPhone 11 is dysfunctional. I've seen tons of these pictures already. They're always fucked up. So again, another point as to how the camera is just not great. And again, I'm telling you also, very important here. People should absolutely stop overhyping the fucking camera, because it is in fact objectively worse than Android alternatives. Now I'm gonna do the last thing about the camera here, which is the Huawei P40 Pro DxO Mark. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys the perfect example as to how much the camera actually destroys the Apple, the iPhone. As you can see right here, I want to take. No, I mean, obviously, I want to give you a great. Yeah, here. This is actually a perfect example. This is indoors. It's decently lit. As you can see here, the Huawei P40 Pro retains all the details. It's all really beautiful. If we take the full picture here, we can see it's all relatively sharp, pretty nice, detailed, not much noise. I mean, there's a little noise here, but considering the situation, it's not that bad at all. It's actually quite nice. As you can see, the couch is sharp and great and whatnot. And you can see he's a... well, he doesn't seem happy, but, you know, at least there's something going on here. Now, here's the iPhone, and yeah, what the fuck is this? This is a fucking nightmare. He looks like, oh my god, what happened to you? I can't tell if he looks happy or disappointed, because this is really fucking terrible. And this is with the main lens. So, I mean, no wait, this is the ultra-wide lens. Great. Fucking fantastic. Another point as to how to shit the ultra-wide lenses. Okay, let's go for the main lens then. Here we go with the main lens. We can see again here the main lens, really sharp, really great. Low noise, nicely detailed, nice colors, everything is great. Let's go ahead and compare it with the iPhone. What in the fuck is this? Is this a painting? This looks like a fucking painting. What happened to my couch? It got oversaturated. Also a fucking shit ton of pixelation. The wall just turned to a different color because it kind of has to guess the colors. It is quite low detail and awful. Again, compared to a Huawei P40 Pro. Now, the reason why the camera is, you know, also, by the way, the luminance noise as well, because it kind of guesses what the hell is going on compared to P40 Pro. So again, the camera isn't exactly great on the iPhone 12. It's something people tell you, morons like this guy, who have never apparently have a fucking Android phone in their life or something, I do not know. But now you know the reality is the iPhone just has an okay camera. It's a 1.4 micrometer camera. That's all it is. I'm obviously going to look at the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I'm going to see if they do some miraculous shit. Maybe it's finally worth something. But as far as the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro go, the camera is just average. Maybe but slightly below average, considering everyone is installing Gcam on their Android budget phones. So, yeah. Now, another thing you need to know about the you know, Apple thing is I follow a guy named Louis Rossmann. I love him. He is amazing. He makes amazing content, showing you guys a little bit how Apple do very interesting things. The thing I like about him, he's very non-biased. So there's that. Even though a lot of people seem to think that he's an Apple hater, he's just being objective. So there's that. Now, let's assume your screen is broken on your iPhone, or let's say your camera is broken on your iPhone, which is apparently a thing. For those who have Android, yeah, it's really rare for Android users. I was first wondering if a broken camera is actually a thing on smartphones to begin with, but apparently yes, on iPhone it's more common than I thought. Why that is, I don't know. So let's go ahead and listen to what Louis Rossmann has to say, because this is very important for your repairability of your iPhone.
What's showing up in Apple GSX. As you can see over here, in GSX, it says when system configuration is required. With the battery, on all the new ones it is because of the battery health thing. But with the camera, only with the iPhone 12 and up do you need to run system configuration when you change the camera, confirming from Apple's own documentation that if you're an independent repair shop or an end customer, even if you get access to an OEM, original, straight from the Apple Store, straight from the Foxconn Slave Factory camera that is blessed by Tim Cook, it will not work in your iPhone until you run their configuration utility, which you can't have access to, you pleb customer. This is proof of.
So, what this basically means is no third-party repairs, only by Apple. Now, the problem here is, let's say I want to have, you know, I want to repair my my Apple iPhone. Let's say I broke my screen or something, right? Now, as you can see here, it costs, just for the screen, just for the damn fucking screen, I need to pay 2,400 Danish crowns. That's roughly $375 US. Now, obviously, people in the US will quote-unquote only have to pay 280 bucks. Now, the reason why everyone outside the US has to pay a lot more for their repair is quite obvious, because only Apple can repair them. So that means tax for import tax and normal tax. By the way, the guy screaming in the background is my retarded roomie, so there you have it. I can't be bothered to actually re-record because he's always like this, so there's that. So here you go. This is basically what you have to deal with. So before, you could actually pay like half the price, maybe even slightly less, for third-party repair, getting the screen replaced. But not anymore, boys. You have to pay. If you need a new battery, new screen, or new camera, you need to pay the Apple Premium. So that means if you are a person that does not make a decent amount of money, you have to pay a lot of money for a screen. And this is actually quite important because the screen is really overpriced in a lot of ways, because it's an OLED screen, obviously, but it's not a particularly great one compared to. I mean, it's a bright one, but it's very washed out compared to the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, OnePlus 8 Pro, Asus ROG 3, and basically all the other 10-bit OLED screens you find on Android phones, which also have high refresh rate as well. So, I don't know. I mean, it's the obvious Apple Premium you're paying for, so there's that. And, yeah. So, obviously, there's the other things where Apple is basically, oh yeah, and this is actually something I need to tell you right now. let's say your screen is broken. Now, the problem is I'm gonna remove this so it's not in Danish anymore, so it's on US, because this also says on a Danish one. Obviously, this will also go for anyone else here. This is actually amazing because there's a problem here. You think you're gonna pay 280 bucks? No. The repair pricing chart applies to only the screen damage. If you have any other damage to your phone, you'll pay additional costs. If you add blah 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 blah. Basically, if you want your screen repaired and they deem it necessary to replace, I don't know, something on your logic board because they think it's slightly water damaged or whatever, you'll have to pay for it. They don't ask you if you want to get it repaired or switch out or anything. They just do it. They just tell you, we're gonna look at your phone, we're gonna repair whatever the fuck we feel like repairing or replacing, and you have to pay for it. Another huge problem with a lot of fucking cost again. Now, there is one piece, and I really feel you guys should look at this. CVB, I think it was. Yes. You should definitely watch this one. Genius Bar caught ripping off customer off on camera. This is basically just an idea on how they actually do things there. And I honestly think you should know. You should know. Obviously, this might vary depending on where you live, because this is US. Obviously, Genius Bar here in Denmark is very different as, for instance, in US or maybe Germany or wherever the hell you are. But when it comes to repairing stuff, thanks to them not actually, giving the tools and stuff, and shipping and import taxes and yada yada yada, not only do you have to wait a long time, but you will basically end up paying a lot of money to get your phone working again. So yes, this is all I have to say about the iPhone in particular. There's obviously more, but I think they're not as important. They're not things you should know as an Apple user, as a person who should just I mean, if you are a person who wants to convert to Apple, right, or if you're just generally a person that thinks about switching to Android, well, I gave you basically a couple of reasons as to why you probably should or shouldn't. It all depends on you. Now, actually, there's one more thing I need to talk about, and that's the ecosystem. Now, what I've figured out so far is that the Apple ecosystem, which within itself works decently fine, but if you want to use Apple products outside the actual Apple ecosystem, it usually is a pain in the ass to deal with. Apple has a lot of nifty features, but they are typically also present on Android, Windows, etc., which also offers cross-platform. Meaning, let's say you have AirDrop, right? And you want to give your mate something via AirDrop, but he has an Android phone. Well, fuck you, basically, right? But if you're an Android user and you want to use quote-unquote AirDrop, which we have a lot of applications for that, it is cross-platform. So you could use that on your Windows PC, on another friend's Windows PC, hell, even on Macs, MacBooks, and iPhones, provided you install the app. So not only would you have the same as AirDrop for, your own Apple products, but also for any other device. So why limit yourself to only Apple if you can have everything, right? So usually that's what I'm like, I don't know. I don't think Apple has a single thing in their ecosystem that's actually special, that actually does not have most likely a superior alternative somewhere else. That's how I saw it. So maybe some niche, or not even niche, but just maybe some nice program that I'm not aware of. But I have a Mac, I have an Apple MacBook because I do iOS development, basically iOS and Apple app development cross-platform. So I have not found anything, to be honest. I don't use it. I don't like using Mac because they're usually more pain in the ass to use. I mean, I like the drag and drop style stuff we have in Android, where you just put it in, it'll be seen as a drive, and I just take my picture. I don't have to use any fucking stupid apps to synchronize things or whatever the fuck. So there's just that, I guess. I mean, So, yeah. I hope you learned something. And before you flame another guy, you might want to consider maybe he's right. Maybe do research. Maybe try not to get fucked. That's what I want. I want people to stop getting fucked. I would absolutely like if Apple would push out a camera that is great and they make marketing for it that it's a great camera and it actually is great. I would support that. But so far I couldn't find a single thing, objectively speaking. I couldn't find a single thing that I couldn't have on Android or better. I mean, that's just how I see it right now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe someday Apple will step up their game and actually create something truly great. But until then, I'm personally not going to have an Apple phone because I don't see why I should have one. I like do gaming. I like having performance. I like having a decent camera. I like having the freedom to customize my things. Hell, I have 3 different camera apps for 3 very different stuff I can do. Because it's all open source and great. I have a lot of things I can do, which I can't do on the iPhone. Hell, I can even use my phone as a Wi-Fi repeater. I'm not even joking. I can even connect to 2 Wi-Fi points at one, I connect to 2 Wi-Fi spots and use both connections simultaneously. And a lot of people will ask, well, when do you use it? Well, actually, I do have 2 Wi-Fi spots on 2 different connections. And yes, it's great. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a tech-savvy nerd that actually uses all these features. Why I appreciate Android so much more, but it's just how it is, I guess. So as I said, I hope you learned something, and on the next one.